Hello, Booktube. I just wanted to recommend a short story from Chekhov that I read in this book that will have its own review soon enough, probably once I'm back in 1 week or something like that. But yeah, the story is Gooseberries that basically made me get this book, which doesn't have that short story, but I'm sure it will have some others that are quite interesting. Yeah, I just thought that the Gooseberries was a very, I don't know, I just really like that story, and it was a highlight for me of the whole of George Saunders swimming upon in the rain, and for a reason, because it's also George Saunders' favorite sort of story, and you would expect more of such a of that kind of story, but it was really a very simple story. A couple of friends are on the countryside, and one of them tells to the other that he owes him a story. Then it starts raining, then they go to someone else's house, Burkin's house, I think it is. And then there is a pond, and the guy who owes the story to the other guy asks if he can swim in the pond. And he jumps in and he swims, and it says that I no that his skin changes the color of the pond as if it were like ink. And yeah, he's just like having too much fun on the pond, so the other one complains and asks him to get out and tell them the story once and for all. So they go into the house, and he tells the story. And the story is a story about his brother, who once their father died, got obsessed with getting a house by a lake, but he didn't have the money, so he spent his whole life just working for that house with the lake, to the degree that he starved to death his wife. But just in general, just he renounced to pretty much everything in life to get that. And then he got it, and he was happy. Surprisingly, and against all odds, he was happy about that. And then, so that's the end of the story. And people is listening to Ivanov and seeing why so much hype for that story. And he's like, the teaching of the story is that you shouldn't be happy, that you should pursue better things than happiness, do good, that kind of thing, right? And then everyone sort of changes topic and goes to sleep, and Ivanov stays there smoking from a pipe, and the smoke of the pipe doesn't let anyone sleep. The smoke of the pipe could be a metaphor for the sort of like backlash of the story, but I think it's also very interesting that it can also be just showing you that just like in the pond, Ivanov is not really living by what he is preaching, because he was having way too much fun in the pond, and now he's like once again not doing good. He's just like not letting anyone sleep with the pipe. There is really not much else to the story. It's just like that in terms of the narrative, in terms of the plot. That's what happens. That's all that happens. But it's written very beautifully. The scene on the pond is something I just loved reading. I reread a few times, and I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I am of the opinion that happiness is overrated. That happiness should be a collateral, like a byproduct of how you live. You should not, like, searching happiness in itself is like, what would be a good example? It's like wanting to make fire but not even going for wood. It's just like it's a byproduct. So I kind of agree with Ivanov, even the story itself is kind of criticizing his opinion. That doesn't mean that like you should not be happy, or you should not seek happiness or seek what makes you happy, right? But it's more that happiness is not a thing. Happiness is the things that you do with your life, and those things are the ones you should seek. And I feel like way too often, especially in the world of philosophy, which I overread, but way too often, too much attention is given to the state of happiness, and not enough to the result, to the reason why it is a result from something else. and in each person that something else is completely different. And Gooseberries made me think about all of this. It's a very, very short story. I just totally recommend it. It's just enjoyable in itself, whether or not you agree or are even interested in the topic. I'm sure you will take something out of it. That was all I wanted to say. Have a nice day. And let me know what you think. Do you think we should seek happiness? Do you think we should see the things that makes us happy? Do we think we should renounce it in other moments for moral reasons? And if we should, shouldn't those moral reasons for which we renounce happiness give us a different kind of happiness?